Hello, everybody, and welcome to Margs with the Boys. Shout out to all of our audio listeners. Check us out on Spotify and wherever you get your podcasts. If you want to interact with the show, hashtag MWTB on Twitter. And if you want to ask questions at the end, that's q.jyggy.live. I'm Scootish. No, I'm not. I'm not Scootish. I'm some other schmuck. I'm Luke. Hi, I'm Luke. I'm here with everybody else.
We actually got a professional podcaster in the building.
That was incredible.
Like, man,
That was good.
I got chills.
we should just use that for every intro.
Yeah, can we
Like,
just?
Yeah.
Just cut it right
Look,
before he says.
when you ask me to do something, I go all in on it, man.
Just
all in.
Cut it right
You're
before
like,
he
this
says
is
he's
the
not
intro, like-
Scootish, and then it's good. It's perfect.
Really good stuff. Really good stuff. Anyway, hello, welcome everybody. With us today, you just heard from Luke. Luke is our guest boy. My name
Hello.
is Jyggy.
Yes, boy.
Guest boy. My name is Jyggy, and with me also today is.
I'm TB for good. Moving down the line. Wrong way.
Other way.
Well, we already got Luke.
We already got Luke.
Oh,
so
shoot,
Luke.
Luke.
We have to go past Luke.
No, yeah, so we have to like
Yeah.
cycle.
Skip me.
Yeah, and then Duggernaut. That's me.
There we go.
Yes.
The four.
The four
So
boys.
What episode is this? Is this
Six. It's six.
Six. Been doing this for a long
Ooh.
time. I'm dropping frames on Twitch, so if you're on audio, you're having a ball right now because you don't have a bad experience. But Twitch, you're having a bad experience. Yeah, I can't believe
Twitch
we've been doing
viewers,
this
just
for
close your eyes.
a
Yeah,
long
just close
time.
your eyes and listen.
Yep.
We're already at
Episode 6, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Margs of the Boys, episode 6. So, Luke, you're our first guest boy. For everybody on audio, Scootish is sick. He has scurvy. He did not eat his vegetables.
No, didn't you kill him with swords or something?
No, no, I did not fight him with swords, but
Okay.
Well, the swords
Definitely-
somehow cause a
definitely.
vitamin C deficiency.
is that- I
Yes.
It just knocks it
thought
right
scurvy
out of you.
literally- I thought scurvy was legitimately just if you don't eat your vegetables.
It's if you
No.
don't eat fruit.
It's vitamin C, so like they would pack
Yeah,
like
it's-
citrus fruits on
yeah,
the pirate ships.
All right, well,
Or
I
all the
promise
ships.
everyone. I promise everyone who listens, especially on Spotify, that I will visit Scootish and I will bring him an orange. All right, I'll bring him an orange. That's
Now you're just gonna bust
Very
out
good, very good.
bust down his door, the ninja sword again.
Made of
but yeah,
oranges.
Today we are going to be talking about movie games. Now you've all played them. If you played a video game or you've been to GameStop or in reality you've been to Walmart and you've seen the giant bargain bin of like $3 Wii games, you've seen a movie game. So we're going to talk about the good ones, the really bad ones, and the shovelware, which I think is even worse than the bad ones.
And then maybe
So,
even ones we might want to see someday. Who knows?
Ooh.
Yeah, sure. But yeah, I figured that we would start talking about our big topic for the day, which is movie games.
Ooh.
Now,
This is different from
movie
game
games,
movies, of course.
yes, these are video games that came out based on or related to a movie. And I feel like these have actually fallen off in recent years. You don't see many of them anymore. Do you? What was, like, the
Well, I
last-
mean,
Ooh,
what would you
yeah, what's the
consider
current-
like the MCU is like every movie nowadays? And there's a ton of Marvel games. Would those tie in, or are those comic book games? They're not using
I
like
feel
the
like
likeness.
Those are Marvel games, though.
Yeah.
Like Avengers isn't related to the film.
Yeah.
you
So
know,
since every movie has to be a superhero movie now,
Yes.
there's not
That's like
much in the way
the,
of like.
the Insomnia Spider-Man game. Did you play that, Doug?
No, I didn't. That's the PS5 one.
It was on PS4, PS5. It's
Yeah, I
very
haven't played
good,
one.
but it's nowhere
Miles
related
Morales?
to any film.
Yeah.
I didn't
yeah.
play that one, but it's nowhere related to any film. It's just a Spider-Man game.
hmm
I'm talking about you go to the movies and you see Minions, and then you go and you buy the
And
Minions.
you go
video
home,
game.
and boy, you can't wait.
Oh yeah.
No.
Oh man.
I'm talking about Ratatouille, the game for the GameCube, dude. I'm talking about Shrek Super Slam, Aladdin. Like these are games that used to be really, really big. They used to make if they made a movie, they made a game about it.
hmm
they don't really do that anymore. At least I don't think they do. I don't. It's hard. Maybe it's just because I don't buy them anymore. But
Well, okay. I've found a
Yeah.
Wikipedia page,
Oh,
and
good.
its latest entry is from 2017.
Oh, good.
what was it?
Planet of the
What was the
Apes:
last
Last
movie?
Frontier.
Oh,
That sounds like a
Planet of the
banger.
Apes.
Yeah,
That
Mummy.
might be a little outdated because a Predator game just came out here like a few months ago.
Did a Predator
Mm.
movie? Well, I guess the franchise is movies.
Yeah.
Have Predator movies been coming
Yeah.
out lately? I guess it doesn't matter.
No.
No. When was the last
I
Predator?
don't think so.
I don't know.
Maybe
Long
Alien
time.
versus Predator or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that might be right.
But you're correct that there is no shortage. This will be a bit of a retro thing though, because we're not seeing a lot of them lately.
It's weird because back in the day,
Mhm.
like back when I was younger, and I'm sure everyone here was younger, they used to come out for everything.
Well, there's
Yeah,
like
You would,
there's such a big sort of push from a lot of people to get licensed content, like Fortnite, like Dead by Daylight has all of the movie monsters in it. Friday the 13th, I guess, the exception because it had its own game.
no, Friday the 13th is in it.
Oh, he's in it now? Okay.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Well, no,
Jason?
No, there's no Jason, but there's calls to Jason, and of course Jason has his own video game. That's a whole different
Yeah.
game.
Yeah, so
Oh,
that's
yeah,
a
okay.
movie game under consideration here. But yeah, I feel like maybe we're moving away from that because all of them are getting their sort of IP put into games in other ways.
I think that it's a different. It's kind of weird thinking about that now that you said that, Doug, because it's one of those things where you're right. If Fortnite and Dead by Daylight and all of them are prime examples of. It's kind of like a different thing, and maybe it's because of the fact that the number one thing I think of when I think, and tell me if I'm wrong. The number one thing I think of when I think of movie video games is, oh no, they're bad.
Yeah. Yeah, generally,
I agree.
like franchise games have been like, I mean, there's good examples of them, of course, but a lot of times they're quite bad. Yeah. And like
Hey,
TV
I
shows
played
and stuff
the
too.
heck out of Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, the original Xbox.
Isn't that
Oh
the
my
good-
God.
really good though? Isn't that one like critically acclaimed as like an amazing Harry Potter game?
I don't think
No.
those, like a couple of the Game Boy ones were good, but I don't think any of like the 3D ones are any
Yeah,
worth it.
I don't remember any of them being particularly good.
I remember there being one really really good Harry Potter game.
I think it was
Like-
the second one on the PlayStation 2. Because I remember like you had to like manage what spells you were learning in classes, and it was a completely open school.
Wow.
Wow.
But Goblet of Fire was just level based, and it told the same story, and it was bad.
Yeah, and then the
Oh.
seventh one is like a Gears of War clone. It's a cover-based wand shooter. Yeah,
Weird.
it's incredible.
Oh,
When I
that's
think
great.
Of, like, my top
What a
my
transfer-
top like 3 movie games of all time. Like I'm talking like these are games that are in my opinion are still genuinely good. Like you can go play them and you will have a good time, and they are based on movies. It'd be Spider-Man 2 on either PS2 or GameCube. Spider-Man 2, Tobey Maguire.
Oh, it's
Like,
like
yeah.
it's got him in it.
Dude, it's busted. That game is
Yeah.
the
Is it on
whole reason
GameCube?
why-
Busted.
The whole reason why Insomnia decided to make Spider-Man on PS4 is because of Spider-Man 2 on PS2.
How many times
got
does
Pizza
Shrek
Man
appear on
in
this
it.
page?
Yeah.
8 times.
Yep. I was gonna say Shrek Super Slam.
Oh, 4 times. Okay.
Shrek Super Slam is really up there, and I am a sucker, of course, for
Oh.
the anything Star Wars. So I'm a big sucker for PlayStation 2, Star Wars: Revenge of the Sith. It was a fighting game. It was literally a side like Mortal Kombat Tekken style fighting game that you played as Jedi, and it's slept on, dude. It's slept on.
Yeah, Star Wars. I remember playing a lot of Battlefront.
Yeah,
A lot of
And-
Battlefront.
yeah. And
But is that a movie game?
it,
That's
technically,
the
but
thing.
it's like
Where
it's like
do
a
we put movie
spin-off.
games?
Well, so many
Is it a
of
movie
these
game or is it not?
like
I would
franchises.
consider it. I would consider it a movie game.
Like there's a ton of these franchises that aren't sort of rooted in one medium.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, Marvel That's comics and movies. Harry Potter, that's books and movies. Like a lot of this stuff sort of double dips, and it's in a lot of places.
That's kind of like a bridge the gap. I would argue to say Harry Potter never really landed in the video game medium, whereas the movies obviously it lands because it's a book to a movie. Some people want to see their favorite books in a visual medium.
Yeah,
but none of the games really hit that mark.
Well, people really liked the Scott Pilgrim game, but those were based. Well, like that was more based on the graphic novel than it was on the movie. So.
No, because it came out before the movie, didn't it?
That's 2010. When did the movie come out?
It's crazy because going on what Luke said. Luke said a lot about Battlefront, and TB says it's a movie game. I think it is that weird borderline between movie game and also it's just a Star Wars game because Star Wars had a whole branch of Lucasfilm called LucasArts that would make Star Wars media, whether it be board games or movies or anything like that. But Star Wars, no, we're still dropping frames. Whatever.
Well, LucasArts made like non-Star Wars content as well. Like
barely.
Star Wars is a rare example of a franchise that could bridge that gap.
Doug's pissed.
It's just you're wrong. No, it's like
talk about Monkey Island right now.
Well, yeah, like they competed with Sierra to make like graphic adventure games back in the day, and they were like the two big names in them was Sierra and LucasArts. So like barely they made other things in Star Wars. No, they had their own thing, for sure.
You're right. But what I was gonna say and why I agree with TB on this is the whole actual selling point of Battlefront when it came out back in 2005? I think it was 2004. And it was 2004, then 2006 for Battlefront 2. Battlefront was sold as play the movies, battle the movies. The whole selling point was yes, yeah.
Wow.
And
movies.
And every battle in the original one was based off movie scenes.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm just gonna read the box art here.
But they also the entire like single player campaign of Star Wars Battlefront was narrated from the perspective of a soldier from a specific movie battle. It was really cool.
Yeah, battle on unique planets from the entire Star Wars saga.
Yeah.
And
I feel like Star Wars was I think Battlefront played into that, and eventually that was the sole reason they were able to bridge that gap. But LucasArts already had its tethers in the video game field, so it just kind of went naturally. Whereas a lot of these are like big companies that just pump out games. EA, Activision, THQ. They're
THQ, baby.
They're all just like grabbing these licensed
properties.
What's the word? Properties, yeah. And pumping out games just to make a quick buck off of it. Like one of the biggest like bad series of games to come out of it was like the Lord of the Rings franchise. They butchered those games.
Oh man.
Wait, hold the phone. Wait,
Uh-oh.
TV. Hold the freaking phone.
If you're gonna tell me any of those games were good, I'm gonna leave this call right now.
Leaving immediately.
You're telling me, TB, that you did not like Battle for Middle Earth?
Which one was that? There were 900 of these games.
Battle for Middle Earth, if I'm correct, was wait, or maybe it wasn't Battle for Middle Earth. What was
Are you talking about the real-time strategy game?
That is
no,
the RTS.
I'm talking about the Star Wars Battlefront clone. There's a clone.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Can you fight as an elephant? Can you be one of the big elephant things?
Oh my god. There's a game that came a Conquest. Is it just called Conquest? I think it's called
Conquest of Middle Earth.
Conquest.
Huh.
It was just called Lord of the Rings Conquest. It came out for the PS3 and the and the 360. It was literally made in the Star Wars Battlefront 2 engine. And it has the same
That's why there's laser guns.
Command post mentality. Super fun game, but you're right, it was a mess.
Well, it's just
you're right.
like
It was a mess.
it's hard to navigate, like especially with some of these properties like Lord of the Rings, like Star Wars. There's there's
Yeah.
dozens of games that have been made based on like extremely popular properties, especially
Yes.
once the movies
Mhm.
started coming out. For
Yep.
Lord of the Rings, especially, like nobody cared about that stuff until Peter Jackson made those movies in like 2001 or whatever when they released. Like it was
Yeah.
for nerds before that, and now it's very mainstream.
It's
Yeah.
interesting.
Well,
Star Wars is a weird example because of the fact that Star Wars, the first like Star Wars games were the ones that were based entirely off the movies for the SNES, and like, well, there were also ones on the NES, and there's a couple on the like I think the what's it called?
N64, Star Wars
Namco,
Episode 1 Racer, the best game ever.
oh,
You're talking-
absolutely. I love that game
Yeah, that
so
game
much.
actually rules.
But
Yeah.
that's the thing is like you make it to the point where Star Wars, I feel like, and this is what I agree with TB on, is Star Wars has these weird things where they make Star Wars Episode 2 for the Game Boy Advance where it's a mess, absolutely garbage mess, whatever. But then they make a game like Star Wars Bounty Hunter, where you learn the story of Jango Fett, and you're going around the galaxy with the two pistols, and you're doing all this crazy stuff. It's this crazy action RPG adventure. And then they have like games like Star Wars. Again, I'm going on Star Wars, but Star Wars Empire at War, which is a top-down strategy game, which in my opinion is one of the greatest Star Wars games ever made.
Well, and now
And then-
there's good.
So every game in the Star Wars franchise that they made, pretty good, except for the ones that are literally the movie.
Yeah,
So
Great.
like, Star Wars Episode 2, Star Wars Episode 3, those games were tragically bad.
and Lord of the
Okay.
The
Rings.
one on the PS.
And I would argue that any game developer or publisher that has tried to make one for one the movie has blown it.
Yep.
Absolutely blown it.
True.
Is there one?
I
that
mean,
has
maybe
won?
like King Kong or something. That was kind of fun.
Harry
Jack
Potter.
Black King Kong?
Harry Potter for the Game Boy Color is an
No,
RPG.
not Jack Black's.
It's pretty good.
Wait, what?
It's a turn-based RPG, and it's all right.
See, like
Wait,
Lord of
it's
the
a
Rings.
turn- it's a tur- wait, no, I gotta hear about Harry Potter Game Boy Color.
There's two of them. The
Wait.
first two are both on the Game Boy Color. They're like
And
it's a
it
turn-based
tells the
RPG. You
story
can
of the
collect
movie.
chocolate frog cards. Like you can run around. The story's kind of there. It's probably sort of a
I
mess.
think I played that one too.
It's good.
Yeah, and Lord of the Rings has Lord of the Rings: The Third Age, which is like a turn-based RPG, and it's all right. But it's like nobody played it. It's like the only passable one that's like based off the movies, and then nobody played it.
Yeah.
See, I feel like this now we're leading into the messes, and I think that agrees with Luke. But I had to ask: is there a single game that was based entirely off of a film that was genuinely good that you guys have played?
Oh, geez.
Spider-Man.
The
Spider-Man 2.
Good.
the only thing that comes to mind is Peter Jackson's King Kong, not Jack Black's thing. Like Peter Jackson's King Kong was pretty fun from what I remembered.
There was a Watchmen game that was
I don't know.
bad. There's all sorts. There's no shortage of bad games out there.
And
I
I mean, a lot when these games were being pumped out week after week, I was pretty little. I enjoyed a lot of them, like The Incredibles for the GameCube.
Yeah.
Nope, it's not
Oh,
a good
yeah, I
game in
remember that.
hindsight, but I liked it back then.
Yeah, I mean it's for
Finding
children. A
Nemo.
lot of them.
Yeah, that's true.
Finding
Yeah.
Nemo.
Finding
Yeah,
Nemo.
Finding Nemo had one of the hardest levels ever. Where you had to bounce on freaking jellyfish, and it was a mess.
SpongeBob
Good
the
out.
movie for the PS2.
SpongeBob, yeah. The Battle for
Oh,
Bikini Bottom.
yeah.
To these companies. Well, Battle for Bikini Bottom is a whole different level.
That's its own
Like,
thing.
that-
Okay.
Yeah, we were talking about the movie, the game.
Oh, the movie, the game,
Yeah,
of
the
course.
movie, the game. is
Excuse
where
me.
it's at.
Right. Because Battle
But-
for Bikini Bottom is in the world, but it's not like one for one the movie.
What about the
Yeah.
Lego movie video game?
Those are a whole.
I don't
different
know.
beast,
I feel like
though.
that's like a whole.
Those are
different
different-
genre. Lego games.
Yeah, Lego games are good for what they are.
I've heard
And
very good things about like, I think the Star Wars ones, about the Batman one.
the Lord of the Rings ones.
There you go.
Lego
There you
Star
go.
Wars,
Luke,
the video
Luke is
game.
Showing Lego Star Wars
For all of
PS2,
our
the original.
audio
Literally
people,
within
Lego
arm's
Star
reach.
Wars the video game.
For PlayStation DOS.
Lego Batman's good.
Yeah. No, I
Lego
think
Marvel is good.
Lego has slowly gone downhill in my opinion, but maybe it's because when I was younger, Lego Star Wars 1 and 2 was like in my PS2 and I 100%ed no life those games to the point where like I got everything.
Hear me out.
Like
Hear me out.
Okay.
GoldenEye
What do
for
you
the
got?
N64.
Ooh.
Literally based on a
Ooh.
movie and is like a formative experience for everyone who had an N64 and at
Mhm.
least one friend.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But let's just talk about GoldenEye. GoldenEye is weird, phenomenal. That I love GoldenEye, and I'm also one of the weirdos who loves GoldenEye Wii. Okay, because GoldenEye Wii, I had more fun with my friends than I had with GoldenEye N64 because it was the game we could play online. And yes, we sat at home on telephones, landlines,
Oh my
playing
goodness.
on Wii Connect 24. We were those weirdos.
Yeah, someone's got to be.
Yeah, but it's one of those things where GoldenEye itself, it's a movie game. It's based on the movie. You're right,
Mhm.
but I feel like its claim to fame, is entirely based on its fun. It's a first-person shooter multiplayer game on a console, the original first-person multiplayer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. It broke a
that's
lot of
claim
ground
to
there.
fame.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
and it's a great game. You can still play it to this day and have fun. But
Oh yeah.
was it the movie part of it?
No,
Or
it definitely
was it the
wasn't. But like, okay,
it
that's
wasn't.
just being a
Yeah,
little
it was.
pedantic, but
yeah,
it is
that,
a movie
that,
game.
that is a good example though, that of an actual good one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You're right.
Jiggy, I cannot think of what happens in the game. I can only think of playing with friends.
Mm-hmm. Slapping each
And the
other.
multiplayer.
And we
Yeah.
always would yell at the kid. I had a buddy of mine who used to always play as Oddjob.
Yeah.
And we'd all like destroy him. We were like, "You're not allowed to play as Oddjob. You're not."
Yeah.
No, the hats were too OP, dude. You
Yeah.
can't throw hats and get one shot.
And he was shorter than everyone
Come
else. You
on.
couldn't hit him. He was too small.
Thanks for reminding me of that.
And
But-
you could say the same thing about Alien versus Predator, like a more recent example. Like that game, it wasn't near the level of GoldenEye, but it did have fun multiplayer. And that's the part I remember of it, was
Yeah, me
the
too.
multiplayer.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Yeah, it was really fun. It was just kind of new, I guess. It was just fun. I don't know.
It took an idea that was like something like when you're watching the movie, you'd be like, this is really cool to do if one of us could play aliens and one of us could play predators, and there would be people with guns and we could all battle all in just an arena together.
Well, it's
You
a
know?
sort of early example of asymmetric multiplayer as well, which
Yeah,
is like
it
very
is.
cool.
Oh, yeah.
Like Splinter Cell did it really well, not based on a movie, but like it did that with the Spies versus Mercs type stuff.
Yep.
But I think
Ideally.
like doing stuff like that is a very sort of early example. But of course, like
So-
choosing characters and stuff in GoldenEye also did that.
Yeah, so if you were to make a movie into a video game, the ones that stand out as good are ones that also do something new with the video game frontier.
Mm-hmm.
That
Yeah.
that those movies lend well to,
Yeah, like
and
being
are like new ideas for video games.
yeah the actual property it's based on wasn't necessary. It just happened to be there while they made a very cool or fun game.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they would have probably done very well if they had been like a standalone. Like Perfect Dark, for example, was basically GoldenEye, and it did well enough. People like that game.
Yep. Arguably more than GoldenEye. Like, people say like GoldenEye is like the nostalgia, whereas Perfect Dark was like the
It was like a
quintessential
perfection. Was it the same
experience.
people?
Yeah,
like,
it was like the perfection. Yeah, that's
yeah,
right.
they like
Wasn't
perfected the
Perfect
formula
Dark
there.
Rare? Didn't Rare make Perfect
Yeah, I
Dark?
believe so.
It's on the Rare Replay collection, so it must have been Rare.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Rare made Perfect Dark, where GoldenEye wasn't Rare, I don't
Was that
think.
who? Like, boy, if we had done any research, how
Who made GoldenEye?
cool would that have been?
I hold on.
Rare by Rare
Might have
and
been
published
Rare.
by Nintendo.
Yeah,
Let's go.
because
Same people.
Wow.
Grant Kirkhope did the soundtrack, so I'm like, oh, that's got to be Rare
Yeah.
It
because
was
they
Rare.
were all friends.
Yep.
Let's go Rare.
it's interesting because of the fact that that means they made GoldenEye, which was a licensed property, and then they made Perfect Dark.
They made a better version.
Yeah, they took the learnings and they iterated on and improved it.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep. And then of course, let's we've been talking about good stuff, but why don't we talk about the wonderful world of THQ?
Oh
now,
boy.
if you all remember, these are the people that made games that like TB was talking about, where it's like Incredibles, or in this case, their first licensed video game, Home Alone 2: Lost in New York for the Nintendo Entertainment System, James Bond Jr., let's see, The Great Waldo Search, which was Where's Waldo, Wayne's World, The Adventures of Rocky and Bullwinkle, and then if we scroll even farther down here, they made games such as Star Wars Episode 1: Obi-Wan's Adventure for the Game Boy Color, and of course, wonderful games such as Rugrats in Paris.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, those are all very
You just
bad.
like unlocked memories.
THQ made a lot of games.
Well, consider the 2010 Wii game from THQ titled The Last Airbender, based on the movie of critical acclaim. The Last Airbender.
Oh, how can you do that? How can you take that and make a game out of it?
I don't
oh my
know,
god.
but I found the Wikipedia page and I regret it.
It's one of those things where THQ makes shovelware, in my opinion. Like a lot of it's shovelware, but then every once in a while they make something like Chef's Kiss. Like I'm talking like a really good example of here is called Scooby-Doo Night of 100 Frights. If you've ever played that, it's a platformer.
I did play that one.
Open world game. That game I remember like crazy, to the point where it was so good that I played it during Jigtober a few years ago. It was that good.
Oh wow.
Yeah, that game was crazy. And then, of course, there's all kinds of THQ did Battle for Bikini Bottom. THQ did there's a lot of
I'm looking at their list. It is a lot of licensed games. It is almost exclusively licensed
That's
stuff.
all. Yeah,
So,
pretty much all.
Okay, so like, so truly, like THQ is responsible for all of the like. I remember growing up and getting like Ratatouille and Meet the Robinsons and Cars and like that crap, you know.
Rugrats
Good.
in Paris.
Rugrats in Paris. Oh, dude.
Oh my god, do you have Rugrats? No.
There you go.
Breaking the
THQ.
rules.
Breaking the rules.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy how much they made. They made, you know, Tack and the Power of Juju. You know, THQ.
Oh yeah.
SpongeBob SquarePants, the movie, the game. They made the Polar Express, the game. They made everything. If you have watched a television show from the 2000s, THQ has probably made a video game about it. I promise you.
The Lizzie McGuire movie, the video game.
Yeah.
That sounds like the worst video game ever
I
made.
cannot imagine what the gameplay loop is in there, but it's on Game Boy Advance, PlayStation 2, Xbox, GameCube, and Microsoft Windows.
Yo, the Polar Express for the PS2.
Oh, I
Absolute
remember that.
classic.
Oh my goodness.
Oof.
So it's one of those things where you make these games, and TB, like TB, you mentioned it, and I think somebody in chat, we got core traction in our Twitch chat saying Cars. Cars was released in June of 2006 for Game Boy Advance, Game Boy Color, GameCube, Mac OS, Microsoft Windows, Nintendo DS, PlayStation 2, PlayStation Portable, Xbox, and Xbox 360. That means they made that many games.
Well, I mean, maybe
and they have to be different versions for like the handheld versus console.
Yeah, like the
You can't.
Oh yeah, like Harry Potter did that too. Like there were
Yeah, Curious George.
Curious
Game
George.
that's really close to my heart.
We just check out. How's the leaderboard doing on that?
I think I'm in third now.
Nice.
I think somebody else beat me. Somebody else got a world record other than the guy that held it for a long time.
Nice.
Ooh.
Anyway, yeah,
So
like they like
How many people did THQ employ? Like their list of games is ridiculous. And they had to port it to like billions of different platforms, man.
Yeah. They have.
How did they pull this off?
They have a whole bunch of like sub developers. Like I'm looking through this list right now, and they have like just so many ones that I've never heard of. Universamo, Locomotive Games, Heavy on Irons, Rainbow Studios, Beanox.
So these are just like sub
Incinerator.
studios.
Also, maybe they publish a lot of these
THQ
more than just developing them.
they publish.
Still THQ though. I still THQ.
Yeah, but they made like Destroy All Humans and Red Faction and like Saints Row.
Well, they're gone
Everyone-
now. Also, oh, they made
Star
Metro.
Wars Episode 1 Racer. There you go. Star Wars Episode 1 Racer. That's a THQ produced game. Like every once in a while, it's you know. But those are games that they distributed. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Like technically, the last video game that THQ produced was Darksiders 2, if I'm correct.
Mm.
Or
Yeah.
no, I'm sorry, it was Jeopardy. I lied. It was Jeopardy.
Oh, Jeopardy.
Oh, dang.
What am I thinking? It was
I don't-
Jeopardy.
Jeopardy.
But it's interesting because in my mind, and I'm sure you guys feel the same way. It's not just THQ. Other people have made licensed games. Believe me, other companies have made licensed games. Ubisoft has made a lot of licensed games. But I think it's the point. There's a point in my life. There's a point back when I was younger where I played enough of Finding Nemo, or I played enough of Rugrats Go to Paris, or I played enough of and those are the good ones. I played it like Puss in Boots or whatever.
Did you?
That I just no, I didn't play Puss in Boots.
Okay, I was gonna say.
That was after my time, but like, you know, I'm just scrolling through there. I think Wheel of Fortune, Penguin, March of the Penguins, the video game. Come on,
Yo.
Like-
Is that one narrated? Is that one narrated by Morgan Freeman? 'Cause
I hope so.
that would
I
be
hope so.
Awesome.
it's like I got to the point where I just said, it's time to stop, and
It's time to play Halo.
Like it's time to play a game
Honestly,
that
yeah.
a publisher worked hard
Yeah.
on. Like, not saying these guys didn't work hard on it, but like, it's time to play good video.
Yeah, we've
games.
definitely identified that like there were a few kind of standout hits, but for the most part, it seems like a lot of these are just kind of cash grabs, and it's like we have the title, we have the whatever the property, we need to just clunk something out for kids to play, for kids to beg their parents for.
Movies coming out next weekend, and we should put out a video game so we make some money.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
And I don't blame
Yeah.
them for doing that. I'm not gonna shun movie games here because, like we said, there are a very, very small group of them they're absolutely amazing. But what's one that Doug? Do you remember the movie game that you played that you were just like, yeah, this is really bad? Like maybe you got it as like a gift. Because I know I got a lot of movie games as gifts. It was like my birthday, or it was he looks at the thing. But I got a lot of movie games as gifts, and I was like, there was a point. I remember the point, but yeah. I'm just gonna pause and remind everybody in chat to ask us your questions. Ask us what we thought about if we played a game. Ask us anything you want in the chat. If you're on the Spotify or any of those platforms, go to hashtag MWTB and tell us your questions.
Oh yeah.
All right, Doug, do you remember?
No, I feel like I didn't play many bad games that were based on movies. I played plenty of bad games, but
I've already mentioned my definitive okay, this one's bad, and that was the Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire.
oh yeah, okay. No, you're right. Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone for PlayStation 1 is probably the bad movie game that I've played. It was the voice acting was just
PS1 Hagrid.
oof. Yeah, PS1 Hagrid, who was just like
PS1 Hagrid,
ooh,
dude.
it is a sight to see. I'm sure googling
Luke,
image.
you
Oh
have a
yeah.
definitive the moment you ended your relationship with video game movie games.
Yes, there was a Harry Potter game that
Two Harry Potter.
I don't remember which one it was, but it's where you show up. He's like, I'm going to Diagon Alley, and then he like shows up in the store or whatever.
That would probably be the first one.
the first one.
It sounds like
I'm
Yeah,
not
sure,
up
it's
on
like
the Harry
anyway.
Potter lore, but there was definitely a Harry Potter game that I played where it drops you into like a store, and I couldn't figure out what to do. I could not for an hour could not figure out what to do or how to get out of the store, and I just quit. I stopped playing the game, and I like returned it to Blockbuster or whatever,
Yeah.
and that was it.
They're
Yeah.
like, this isn't due for another week, and you say,
Yeah, that's where I played the most of these too, was renting them.
Renting
Yeah.
or gifts. Renting or gifts. That was how it was. Mine's kind of sad because it was a published LucasArts film game. It was a published LucasArts game. It wasn't made by LucasArts. It was published. It was called Indiana Jones and the Staff of Kings. I don't know
Yeah.
if you've ever played that game.
Okay.
I love Indiana Jones, big fan, and I thought they were this is for the Wii, and they were advertising this game as the 4th Indiana Jones movie. This is before
yeah.
this is before Kingdom of the Crystal Skulls.
So-
yeah, okay.
The story continues. Which I know this could argue because it's not a movie game, but it's a franchise
Well,
game.
yeah. I mean, Battlefront isn't either, so let's just
Sure.
go with that.
But that was the moment where I was the most disappointed with that game. I just was like, all right, it's officially we're done. We're done with movie games.
Was it-
no
was it-
more,
Yeah.
no more-
Anything like Uncharted? Like, was it before Uncharted? Because like
It
I
was
would.
before I played Uncharted because it was Wii.
Well, when did
and
Uncharted
they
come out?
advertised it. I don't know if Uncharted was out, but they advertised it as this adventure open world Indiana Jones game. And in my mind, it sounds like Uncharted.
It's
was like,
after
whoa.
Uncharted. So like they had already sort of nailed
after?
like Uncharted was 2007 and this was 2009. So like I feel I don't know if they nailed Uncharted because they did just murder everyone and Indiana Jones
Yeah.
definitely didn't do that. But that's just what video games were in the aughts. Was
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
like what do? You just have to kill everyone. Like there's the big talks
Yeah.
about ludonarrative dissonance and stuff. Which we won't get into because it's boring and annoying, but
Yeah, true.
but
But yeah, it is.
But that was a big
It-
thing. So I think they like people who wanted to sort of scratch that itch of like I want to be Indiana Jones without whatever. So I'm sure they messed that up because Uncharted was already there.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was one of those times where I think it was Indiana Jones came out, and I played it way after it came out. I think no earlier. I think I played it right when it came out. And then I think I put it down and played some other Wii game that came out. It was what you said. It was 2008, so it was a Nintendo game, of course. So it was like the difference in quality was kind of there very
Mhm.
much. I forget what it was 2008, so it wasn't Galaxy because I played Galaxy in 2007. Galaxy 2 was 2008 or 2009.
I don't
It
know.
was 2009, right?
But I mean,
don't
yeah,
know.
that's the difference between a company that really like takes the care to put a lot of polish into something to iterate on it to like come up with interesting gameplay ideas and
Yep.
execute on them versus we paid to have the face of Indiana Jones and we need to do something with it and then they
Money.
start with that instead of starting with like, oh, here's a cool gameplay idea, how can we build a whole game around that instead.
Yeah.
Yeah, complete cash grab. Another one that comes to mind to me is the Chronicles of Riddick games.
Actually,
Like-
one of those was very good.
Which one?
Escape from Butcher Bay on the Xbox.
I guess I paid the poopy one
You must have. That we've talked about that before actually, I think. Where like
because
that-
there's Assault on Dark Athena and there's that one.
Okay, yeah. We've talked about it before because that one's not backwards compatible because of just all the sort of hacks that they ended up doing to make it looked so it was one of the best looking games on the original Xbox because like I don't know what they did, but they literally couldn't port it forward.
Something.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. I liked that one
Yeah,
at least. And I think it was
Another
critically fun.
another one that kind of put the nail in the coffin for me was a series of unfortunate events from the movie the game.
Oh yeah, was Jim Carrey in
Oh
it?
man.
It's already a mess.
Oh yeah.
I
It
remember
was bad.
Was there a Grinch game?
seeing. Oh, I bet. I'm
There
sure.
has to be.
Probably. Yeah.
I remember going
Yeah.
to Target, and just walking through the sections. I always would go to the video game section because I'm a whatever, and I would see like hundreds. I'm talking maybe not hundreds, but tens of tens, almost, probably around 100, if not 200 copies of Chicken Little on 360.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Yup, that makes sense." Chicken
Oh
Little.
my goodness.
Shark Tale for the GameCube.
Shark
hell yeah.
Tale. Dude, I remember going to like Sears with my parents or something, and they had like a little corner of games, and on the TV, on the display, they had like the demo of Chicken Little happening, and it was the stupidest thing. And
Chicken Little.
Chicken
the
Little.
game.
Dude, demos at stores.
Yeah.
Remember those? There's a
Remember stores?
like a DS that was like stapled to the display, so you couldn't
super like
walk away with
gross
it.
Absolutely.
looking too. It may always have like the hinge broke on it.
Yeah, the
because,
hinge is
kids would go,
broken, and like the screen is just annihilated.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Good time.
All right, I'm upset. I've never played either of these games, but I love the movies. Apparently, there are Godfather video games and there are Blade Runner video games.
Doug
I feel like I've heard of the Godfather game.
There is a Fight Club video game.
Yeah, it's a
don't
fighting
tell
game.
me that.
If you would believe it.
Godfather one, too.
It's a fighting game.
I wouldn't have guessed.
Oh,
I think I heard of the Godfather one too, and I heard it was
this
actually
is-
this
is
good.
germane.
Anybody in chat play the Godfather the game?
no. I
No.
don't think so. I have Tim Burton's The Nightmare Before Christmas, The Pumpkin King, as well for the Game Boy Advance. It's a Metroidvania that my sister got for me because
It's a Metroidvania.
it's a Metroidvania. You run around as Jack Skellington and you interact with all of the characters from the movie, including like some ones that barely make any appearance at all, like the Flesh Man or something. You see him for like a second. He's sticky or something. And like
Okay.
and they give you like abilities and stuff, and then you have to fight Oogie Boogie or whatever. Like it's a game. It's a real game.
It's a real game. It's a real game. The big licensed game that I played when I was younger was the Finding Nemo one, and it was just a game that you played through the story of Finding Nemo,
Mhm.
and
Were there parts where you were in the dentist's office in the aquarium?
yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
that's
you were
awesome.
you had to escape the the tank. You had to like jump, and it was, they had like quick time events where you press the A button or the B button to jump and flop like back and forth.
Okay.
Oh.
Oh, you're losing me.
THQ.
It sounded cool at
You gotta say
first.
THQ.
Yeah.
THQ.
Unfortunate.
But-
If you want to have if you're doing Jigtober or whatever, if you want to have a really stupid time, you should play the Saw video games. They're all horrible.
Oh god.
They're all they're garbage. They're just garbage, dude.
I'm scrolling through a list of them right now, and Napoleon Dynamite the game.
Oh my god.
What do you do in that game? Do you just play like
don't
the
know.
movie? Is that
I
it?
don't know.
That's
No, I want to know if
incredible.
they came up with some like alternative story. Like the developers liked the movie so much that they were like, let's make our own version of the story. And it's just like horrible.
Dude.
I never
Well, some
played.
video games from movies did that. There was a lot of, and if I remember correctly, there's a lot, especially when it came to Star Wars or anything like that. There was a lot of games that would totally exaggerate the film. Like for example, the earliest one I could think of is The Empire Strikes Back on SNES, where you open up as
Hard.
Luke Skywalker.
So
fighting
hard.
through Hoth.
Yeah, you're on Hoth.
Oh god, those all three of those games are hard.
The hardest
Super
games
Star
ever.
Wars,
They're super
Yeah.
hard.
but I don't remember Luke Skywalker running around Hoth fighting giant snow rats. Okay, I'm just saying.
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't know. If there were a WarioWare minigame where you cut open a tauntaun or something and stuffed Luke in, that would be super weird too.
True, you're right, but it's just one of those things where I feel like some games took a little bit
Creative
of
liberty?
Yeah.
creative liberty with the way that they portrayed the story, and they kind of did that with a lot of different games, but obviously Super Star Wars is the one that I go to the most. Jurassic Park 3 on the Game Boy Advance. I don't know. Did any of you guys play that game? I know
No.
that was me. Jurassic Park 2 on the SNES, where you just go around shooting dinosaurs, because that was the movie. That was the movie.
That was the movie.
Movie was you shoot
That would
dinosaurs.
have been a way different movie.
Yeah.
Different movie. You know?
I think the only handheld movie game I had was like Rocket Power, which was a TV show.
Yeah, that's a well.
That
They
was
probably had a
horrible
movie.
too. Like I couldn't figure out what to do, just like the Harry Potter game. I was sitting there like,
True.
what am I don't know what I'm
I think
doing.
they went to Australia in the movie.
There was a Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets on GBA that I couldn't even get past the first level, and I remember like as a kid, I'd love it if I could find it because I'd love to see if I could beat the first.
Yeah, that's
level
another one where they
nowadays.
like double dipped and stuff because there was Game Boy
Yeah.
Color, Game Boy Advance, PS1, etc. For Game Boy for
Yeah.
Harry Potter 1 and I
Yeah.
think 2 both had all of those.
Yeah, it's something. It's something. Once again, guys, if you have questions, ask us in the chat. !Q. I'm sorry, I'm literally still dropping frames, so I don't think I'm going to be able to play Star Wars tonight, but we'll find out.
Yeah.
The
The probably the last of the video game movies, at least like the kid ones that I tried to, or that I at least had experience with, was the Kung Fu Panda video game. It came for free with my Xbox 360,
Whoa.
and not even a year after that game came out, I tried to trade it in at GameStop. They wouldn't even take it for free.
Wow.
wow.
Like they had so many copies of it.
Must have
'Cause
been real
nobody
good.
wanted it, and it came with every Xbox.
Yeah, I remember going to like Blockbuster or whatever, and you would see like the sort of recent release that maybe came out like a month or so ago, and they would have like 400 copies like in the store because like nobody wanted it. And that was for movies. I'm sure the same thing worked with games as well, where they like stocked up right when it came out because everyone wanted it, and then before they could phase it out or sell all the copies, they just had too much on hand.
Yep.
See, here's the weird thing. It goes back to what TB was saying early on in the show, where some movie video games kind of push the boundaries. Again, the big one for me was Spider-Man 2, and of course
Yep.
GoldenEye, and there's a few other ones. Star Wars Episode 1 Racer, which is a really really good racing game. But then like it's one of those things where it's like you could have games that kind of took that extra step, but then you realized why. Like, why did they add that extra step? So one of the big things I see here was there was a game called Drake and Josh Talent Showdown. where it
Oh
was
my god.
a 16-bit Drake and Josh game on the DS where you could not you unlocked extra bonus levels, like full-on bonus experience, if you had the Drake and Josh the video game on Game Boy Advance and you plugged it into the bottom of the Nintendo DS.
Wow.
That's advanced, dude.
Early
you
amiibo
remember-
type stuff.
Like that was back. I remember the Nintendo DS having that kind of gimmick where
Yep.
some games unlocked things if you plugged things into the GBA port, but
Yeah.
THQ did that.
That's
And I'm like,
crazy.
what? THQ, like if you had the Drake and Josh Game Boy Advance game, you unlocked more content. That's
Nice.
crazy. But
Imagine
a lot of
buying
people
more than
are like,
one Drake and Josh game.
Hey man, don't you judge. That's like what we
went-
can talk all about. We should do a show on games for girls. You guys remember the
Style
they
savvy
still
for the
make fun.
DS. I will talk for
Unfortunately,
a long time
games
about
for
that.
girls is still a thing. It's sad that they make like they do that stuff, but
Mhm.
I would love to do a show based on that, just to talk about that whole thing, because my sister was a victim of the pets PETZ with all of them. Like there's so many of them. Pets, horses, pets,
Barbie games.
hamsters, brats.
Brats,
THQ,
yeah.
THQ made Brats the movie, the game, The Showdown. It's called The Showdown.
the
Oh
showdown.
my god.
That's scary.
The showdown.
The
That's very
showdown.
intense. Very intense.
Yeah, Brats, dude. The Brats.
I don't know
franchise-
why, but you just like popped Mary Kate and Ashley's Sweet 16 License to Drive in my head,
That's a game.
which is a horrible, very horrible,
God
horrible
dang
video
it.
game. I think it was basically like Mario Party, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. It was exactly like that. I think it didn't have mini games though, or something. There's definitely like mini game or Mario Party clones
What?
that didn't have Mario mini games. Rather,
I have a question. This is a little off topic, but did anybody play
Okay.
Fortune Street?
No.
No.
I don't know what that
It
is.
was the Fortune Street was a Wii game that was made by Square Enix. Scootish is popping off in his scurvy and
deathbed.
coma right now.
Yeah.
Oh, hold on. Let me fill in for the Scootish persona. Yes. All right.
Jeez.
But yeah, was it produced? I think it was produced by Square Enix, but it was Mario Party, but with Dragon Quest and Mario characters. It was called Fortune
Oh.
Street.
It is
But
as far
all
as
of that. Yeah.
it was wacky. It was like this weird Dragon Quest plus Mario adventure party game, and I don't even remember if there was party games in that. Like it was like a weird Monopoly game, but
That is weird.
that's a weird,
yeah,
like, that's
I've never even heard of it.
Fortune
Yeah, neither
Street.
have I.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's wacky.
But yeah, I've gone a little bit off topic. Plus, we can talk on and on about different games that have come out, if they were good, if they were bad. But let's talk about what movies could you see work, or do you want to see work in what type of game?
Okay.
For me personally, I just really want there to be an actual good Lord of the Rings MMO. That's the only thing I want. I'm a big MMO boy, and I love the Lord of the Rings, but the MMO was awful.
Ooh.
I just wish there was a good one.
Battle for Middle Earth 2?
It was
I don't
not an
remember the
MMO.
name of it.
It was a top-down strategy game, right?
Yeah.
Battle.
Oh, MMO. Sorry,
Yeah,
I'm thinking of. Yeah, I'm thinking you. I was thinking of RTS. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. No, MMO.
Battle for Middle Earth was like a Warcraft 3 clone, if I'm correct.
Yeah. Kind of.
But I don't know. I love movies. We all know I love movies, and I think one of the big things that I would love, and I'm not gonna say the easy route, which is please, gosh, make more
Star Wars!
Make more
Star Wars
games.
You're saying they need more?
They've made good Star Wars games, so that's kind of like, well, yeah.
And you've
there
got an
are gonna be
MMO.
more Star Wars games.
There's been some good Star Wars games. I agree. Yeah, but the most recent Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, terrible name in my opinion, still great game. Dark Souls clone, more or less, but really
Kinda,
fun.
yeah.
Very much that.
Dark
Yeah.
Souls combat, really fun. But in reality, I think the movie that I want like a video game of, I really think it would be. It's weird because I go back to it all the time, and everybody always forgets this movie exists. But I would love a Snowpiercer game. Have you ever seen Snowpiercer? It's
Oh
2013.
yeah.
Chris, what was it? It's not Chris Hemsworth. Chris, one of the
The other
Chris's. There's
Chris.
so many Chris's in Hollywood now. I'm tired of it. They made a TV show about it recently. It's really great.
Chris Evans.
Chris Evans. Okay. Snowpiercer is a movie that is based on a manga. I'm afraid of manga, but hey, it's about a post-apocalyptic Earth where there's a crazy ice apocalypse, and the only remaining humans are on this train, and so this train just circles the Earth constantly. And I think that there could be a really cool experience created with that with a video game where you're maybe limited on that explorability because you're stuck in a train, but it might be a social video game where you have to work your way up the train, or you have to work your way through an experience, or make
Or like
it
a
to the
hidden imposter game, Among Us.
Oh jeez.
Oh.
I think Among Us 2 already. What are we doing?
Among Us 2.
Yeah. What do you think, Luke?
Man, I'm a huge fan of horror games. I love horror games so much. And honestly, Alien Isolation has already done this for me, right?
Mhm.
Oh, true.
But I would love to see more horror movies, like horror games in the universes of the movies, like an It game or something. Because horror, you can just do so much cool stuff in horror games, and it's all like the developers messing with the player, and I think that's just like the coolest thing.
When you add player agency to a horror experience, it makes it a lot more engaging than like a horror movie. So yeah, I
Yeah,
totally feel that.
absolutely.
Yeah, like
Like,
when you're
the
the one making
interactivity
the
is
bad
huge.
decisions, essentially,
Yeah.
that you're yelling at the characters on the
Exactly.
movie screen for. Like, yeah,
Yep.
that's a great
Yeah, like
Did you play that game?
Outlast?
Outlast.
Not Outlast. What's TV is a really good one. I can't. I'm blanking on it.
Amnesia?
It's a really good game. Nope. It's got paths. It's got snow. It's got we to go. I can't remember the name.
Oh, Until Dawn.
Until Dawn. Thank
Until
you.
Dawn.
Yeah.
Very, very campy, but yeah.
Yeah, 20
So
different
it's-
characters, and your decisions affect like who lives and dies, and like your
Yep.
ending
So
is
it's a
different based on
movie
who's
that you're
still there.
interacting with.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
horror movie that you get to make decisions in that affects the story, and it's great. It's a great.
Yep.
Luke, have you ever played that game?
I haven't, and honestly, I don't think I want to because I've played. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of the playable movie.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Like I played
respect that.
Detroit Human, and I thought it was great, but I don't know. I have more fun when I'm able to interact with the universe. I have more fun. Yeah, like
yeah, there's David Crane games
like
are
press
all-
X to not die is
they're
a
all just
thing, I guess.
quick time events, the game.
Yeah. But I think what I liked, and TB has played it. And Doug, have you played Until Dawn?
No, but I've heard about it.
Yeah, I know TB's played it, and I have
Mhm.
definitely played it. And my sister has played it. I forced my sister into playing it. 'Cause,
I'm sure that was
she
fun.
actually really enjoyed it. She really enjoyed it.
Oh, that's good.
I liked that experience probably more because I got to experience something for the first time. I don't know how much of a replayability other than the fact that you want to experience maybe another storyline it has. But I understand why you guys aren't the biggest fan of that. But I definitely feel like it has a place in the horror genre it's a playable movie, but your choices and the way Until Dawn's a great example of your choices, but also your ability to play the video game kind of matters.
Yeah,
Yeah.
The jumping from character to character kind of thing, kind of it kills the horror aspect of it, and I feel it's a very good mystery game, but it's not that good of like a horror game. But it is very fun in its own right. If you like that sort of experience, I did like it better than Detroit Become Human.
I didn't play Detroit Become
Okay.
Human, but
Yeah.
it's interesting because we talked a lot, and this is all honing back to what TB said in the beginning of the show. We talked a lot about older games. We talked about Cars, the video game. We talked about the movie, the game, this and that, and this and that, and this and that.
The B movie,
But
the game.
nowadays, this moves on to what Doug was saying, which is there are a lot of games that are or IPs or films that are being wrapped into currently existing IPs, as in they're very popular. Whether it be Fortnite getting a Star Wars skin or a Predator skin, Fortnite just got a Predator skin, or you're going on Dead by Daylight and you're getting Pyramid skin. There's a Resident Evil character coming to Dead by Daylight soon. It's one of those things where it's like, what is that where the intellectual property went? Is it too hard to make it? Have people caught on? Did video game movies, and this is my question for all you guys to end before we move on, I think, to questions. We still have questions, but have video game movies been deemed by the mass public as shovelware? Or do you think if a movie game came out today that said, this is an amazing experience that's based on this movie, but it's a video game, would you be willing to buy it?
Other than niche scenarios like new original Star Wars story or something like that, or retelling of grand battles in the context of like Battlefront. It other than like if another series or movie were to do something along those lines, I think it has been played out for the masses.
No, I think we're in sort of, as always, unprecedented times. But movies, like the movie sort of industry is suffering right now. Games,
Yes.
like, are harder to develop whenever, people have to do it from home and stuff. So we've gotten, like, we've predicted on this show, I think, in the next year or so, we'll probably finally be hit by the fact that development time is taking longer and stuff because like all the stuff that was being worked on before the pandemic is finally released. And now, like, the stuff that is being worked on during the pandemic is underway and it's taking longer. So I think maybe the fact that we looked and like, oh, the last stuff we saw is 2017 or 2019 or whatever, like, I feel like maybe that's affecting things as well. Maybe after things sort of calm down a little bit and movies become a thing again, because they're very much not, I think maybe we would have to revisit this or something. But it's definitely lessened nowadays. But I mean, as we talked about fad games before, Fortnite is like the ultimate fad game that made it, essentially. And a great way to keep your hooks in people is to introduce things that make them feel nostalgia. And so they've been pulling in all this other IP for that.
Mm-hmm. I did just go to a movie theater for the first time since pre-COVID. And
Really? What did you see?
Yep. I saw the Demon Slayer movie.
Oh, yeah. That's so they released that for a week. So pretty much everyone who's seen a movie lately that I know is that is the movie
Yeah.
they saw with, like, 12 people in the theater all spread out. Because they made such a limited release, and that's the only way to see it, which is kind of rude of them to do in a pandemic. But that's like,
well, it did so well that it's still in theaters now. They extended it to the partner theaters.
Excellent.
Yeah.
I saw that today. No, was it today? No, it was yesterday. Yesterday, Marvel put out their Big Boy trailer. I'm sure. I don't want to go on too long about this because I want to hear about Luke, about what Luke wants to hear about those. But Marvel put out their Big Boy trailer that basically announces the movies for the next 4 years. Like it's this year. You got the Phase 4 trailer, as I'm told by the chat. This year you have Black Widow that's coming out in a couple of months. You got Shang-Chi. I'm sorry, internet. Don't get mad at me. And the Seven Rings or whatever. I sleeping, dude. I'm sleeping right now. And then they're doing the Eternals this year. Yep. And then they have Spider-Man. They have
Captain Marvel too.
No. What's Doctor Strange? Ant-Man and the Wasp 3. Thor 4, and Guardians of the Galaxy 3, and I don't know what else. They basically released a whole bunch of JPEGs of movies that are coming out.
It's just everything's a sequel nowadays.
Yeah. Well, Marvel's Marvel.
Here are my JPEGs.
Here, have some JPEGs.
Here they are. Are you excited for
my
JPEGs?
These.
Yeah. So movie theaters are coming back, which I'm very happy about because I have MC stock.
I think cinema as a whole, and this is a completely different topic, what we could touch on. We could probably do a whole episode about eventually, but I feel it's going to make a huge comeback, and there might be a few games out of it. Who knows?
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I think movie theaters are done.
No,
in their current state. We should do we're gonna do a whole segment on this. We're doing a whole show on movie theaters in the coming future. You heard it from me. It'll be great. But it's interesting. It's interesting you think that, TB. Just stay tuned, kids. Margs of the Boys future.
Episode 7.
Whoa.
If they made a movie game and they said it was like the best insert gimmick here, would you buy it? Would you be down? And what would you want it to be?
If it were not 1-to-1 with the movie, then yeah, I love playing stuff that's in the universe of a movie that I really like. Like I already said, Alien Isolation. Like that's it for me, man. Like I love the Alien universe, and that is like incredible.
They nailed that game. Like it felt like you were in the first movie. Just even the aesthetic of just the spaceship. It's just like
1-to-1 retellings don't work, but that worked.
Yeah. I just want to play things that are in the world of the movie that I like. I don't want to play the movie that I saw 20 minutes ago.
So going off of that, last little chat, and then we're gonna move on to questions. Get your questions in right now! Exclamation point Q in the chat. If there's a video game that is created that adds onto a story or draws from a story or adds to the overarching world building of, if say, a movie or a film or a franchise, what do you guys expect from that? Like, I can use a really good example here. There are many Star Wars games build off that experience, including the most recent one. If they're canonically adding to the story, is it worth it, and is it considered a movie game? That's my question. Doug.
I'm never going to shut up about Alien Isolation because of that, but...
I mean, if it's part of the canon,
Yeah, I think that there's potential there.
That would be cool.
We've seen like anime at least has started doing things where they have taken their series and then they branch off to a movie that is the next step. So I feel like movie series could hop to a video game to be canon.
Yeah, like anime movies, I think especially suffer from a troubling sense of like there's no stakes or anything, because it's usually like a side thing, and they're like, oh, this one slots between these two episodes, and like, you know, it's not like in that episode after the movie, like they're like, oh, by the way, this person died, like that can't happen. So you don't feel like there's a lot of like risk or anything that's going on, even though they're doing, you know, scary stuff. So it does suffer from that. But if they were to sort of double dip and say like, oh, this is canonical, like, I mean, for you Star Wars people, like, here's a Star Wars game that's in universe, that's real. And, you know, Disney isn't going to say this isn't canon anymore, or whatever they did whenever they bought the franchise. Whoops. That would be kind of cool.
Yeah. There is potential for that, I think.
So then what happens? I don't know if this would ever happen, but what happens if they make the movie comes out, and then the game extends on the movie, and then another movie comes out, and then it extends on the game, and you had to play the game to understand what's going on movie 2.
Yeah, that happens, Luke.
It does?
Yes. I'm going to use, again, I'm going back to Star Wars here.
I haven't seen it with a game yet.
Oh, it happens all the time in Star Wars universe. Okay, I'm going back to Star Wars. It's May the 4th. Here I am. Star Wars is the king, including the wonderful world. Now that we're in the wonderful world of Disney-owned stuff, Star Wars is the king of. You need to, if you want the overarching full experience of the story, you need to go and do this gimmick or watch this thing or play this video.
You need to scan this QR code.
Sure. So for a really good example, we will relate to a recent video game, which is Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. Okay, you can play that game and experience it in the way that is super great, and you have a grand time doing it. But it rewards players that have watched not only all the Star Wars movies, but have also watched the Clone Wars television cartoon, which is 7 seasons of Jar Jar Binks. So it's one of those things where you get more out of it, more substance by playing the video game.
But we're saying is, how does that game in turn go back to affect the other mediums?
Well, it does. That game in particular relates to the Jedi Order as a whole. It's world building. The wonderful, my favorite thing about not only Star Wars but a lot of different things is the world building. So something that a really good example. Here's another video game, Star Wars Battlefront 2, made by EA back in 17 or 18. I don't know, 17. Yeah. That game went on for about 2 years. It actually launched with a story campaign that nobody played because it was diced. It was a mess. But it shows some really cool little tidbits of the Empire, because it's taken from the Empire's perspective. Yeah. And so what it does is it builds on the propaganda of what it was like living on an Imperial planet. Now, what you're saying is, that doesn't really have to build on, like, you don't have to you don't have to play the game in order to experience a movie. but it builds on the world and it builds on the actual characters that we love. Looking at you, TB, one of the things you said is, well, how does it affect future stuff? I think the number one thing I can branch out here, and unfortunately Scootish is sick, but Kingdom Hearts is the number one.
I was thinking about Kingdom Hearts, yeah.
How
but those
if you don't play a game, you're screwed.
Yeah.
That if you don't play a GBA game or an iPhone game, you're screwed.
But they are all games. And
yeah. It's no
so
movie.
we're talking about bridging mediums for in-canon content.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think that again, I don't know, Luke, if you have any input, but in my mind, Star Wars really does that well, but also has always done that well. You know, using Jango Fett in Star Wars Bounty Hunter for the PlayStation 2, go play it. I don't know where. I think it's on PS4, but that is not canon anymore, unfortunately. I still believe it's canon, but it's one of those things where you find out about Jango Fett in Attack of the Clones. You figure out that he's the clone guy. He was the bounty hunter that they cloned and turned into this massive army, but you don't really know how that happened. You had to go play a video game to experience that.
You had to watch the Clone Wars TV show.
Yes. Well, no. Jango Fett, you had to go play the video game.
Oh, okay. Well, that's just flavor. That's backstory. Like, again, it's not like necessary. You don't need to really know that.
Yeah. And I
okay, I'm sorry, Mr. Star Wars.
I think they were trying to attempt something like we're explaining, and we need to wrap this up soon. But they were trying to attempt that with Cyberpunk, because the game came out, but they were also going to make an anime that was like a prequel.
I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either.
Go on, but I do have a point here.
So like. And Final Fantasy 15 did that, where there's an anime that's a prequel. So there is potential for like series to hop mediums, like we've seen with the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It hops a movie, TV show, but they're all self-contained little tidbits rather than one story told in different segments.
I have a point on that.
But they're all like self-contained stories that add to the greater thing. And I think that's where you see the most success, rather than like get to a stopping point with one, do a little bit of this on another medium and come back.
I feel like Marvel has done it in an almost bad way. And this I'm gonna use people are gonna get pissed off at me in the chat. Or on Spotify. But I personally believe that Marvel has done it in a rough way, where a lot of the stuff that Marvel creates doesn't actually add to that overarching thing, and it heavily relies on what I consider to be the post-credit scene. Like,
true.
Basically, they over-rely. I'm going to use WandaVision as a great example. Yes, I enjoyed WandaVision. But in my opinion, it is on the same level as Star Wars, a Han Solo adventure movie, which it doesn't actually add anything that we really needed. It was just there. And it heavily relied on post-credit scenes, quote unquote, to actually add to the overarching story. So you're watching a 2-hour movie, or in WandaVision's case, a 45-minute movie. Techno's in shambles right now. He loves one. But
oh no,
you're watching a 45-minute show or a 2-hour movie, but in reality, you only have to watch a 3-minute at max post-credit scene in order to help you.
That you can look up on YouTube. Yeah.
Wild.
Yep.
Yeah.
Honestly, I would.
Were you gonna... Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I would prefer the whole self-contained, doesn't really add anything, but also doesn't. Like, it's not necessary. It's completely not necessary. It's just nice to see that the different thing. Like, this is a bad example, but Alan Wake and Control. Like, Control at the end kind of explains that it's all in the same universe. Yeah. Oh my gosh, right? And that's really really cool. It's just building the world. It's not like necessary to know that.
Character development.
Now that you do know that, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Luke, do you like being spoon-fed? You don't like being spoon-fed, right? I know you don't like being spoon-fed.
Well,
You're a
I
fan
don't know. It might be okay. I haven't been
What does that
spoon-fed in a long
mean?
time.
You played Portal. You played Portal, right?
Sure. Portal
You
is
played half.
Portal's a masterclass in sort of in-universe tutorializing that is perfect. Like, and everyone should study that game.
Mhm.
Not only
Yeah.
that, but you played Half-Life, right? Have you played
Oh
Half-Life?
yeah, I
too?
played lots of Half-Life games.
Those two video games are in the same universe.
Yes.
But they don't spoon feed it to you. You have to
Eh,
figure
oh,
it
yeah.
out.
Well, they
that's
also
the
don't make
best
games in that
part.
universe anymore.
Well,
The game,
no.
I don't know if you've seen it. There was a leak of like what the story of Half-Life, either Episode 3 or 3, just Half-Life 3 was supposed to be. I guess they made it Alex, so that's the VR
Yeah.
only game. But
Mhm.
Which that's like a prequel.
there was a
yeah.
lot more. Oh,
Right.
right. Yeah, that was when Gordon was asleep.
Yeah.
There was a lot of sort of tying together of the universes in that of the it's the one universe, but like of the franchises, Portal and Half-Life.
in my mind, that was like the first time. It's weird that Valve did something Marvel did like 20 years before. You know.
Okay, then you might want to frame it the other direction then.
But I'm just saying that.
It's weird that they copied Marvel before Marvel could do it.
I'm just saying that was a big deal for me when I was a kid, was trying to figure out the connections between these two franchises. And I love that, but it's just one of those things where that was a big deal for me, and it's crazy to think that they still kind of do that, but in reality it's weird. Anyway,
Yeah.
Mhm.
What were you saying?
Closing point on that.
Yes.
But there is a definitive point where they go too far with that. Like people trying to draw lines between Dark Souls and Bloodborne, saying they're in the same universe.
No.
But that's
No.
just from software. That's just from
Yeah.
software.
It's
Like,
yeah.
That's just fans
But-
being like,
Yeah. Fans get a little too over
Too much copium.
excited.
Yeah.
cool.
All right, let's move
Well-
on to questions.
Please.
Questions. What do we got? Now's your time, everybody. If you do !Q, I just posted in the chat, and if you are on the mobile, listening on our pre-recorded software on Spotify or any of that on podcast networks, go to hashtag MWTB, Margs with the Boys. Tell us your questions for the next episode, and we're gonna get into our questions here. !Q in the chat. Doug, lead us off.
Question number 1. Is Star Wars the most overrated of all the major franchises? More or less than things like Harry Potter or Marvel?
Who are you?
100%.
Absolutely.
You're about to kill
Oh
Jyggy.
Absolutely.
I'm
Overrated.
You think that Star
Too-
Wars
there's-
is more overrated than Marvel right now?
You know,
Yeah.
that is a hard compare. It's just, yeah, they're both. I guess Marvel like sort of jumped on the scene. When was the first like Marvel
Yeah.
comic book movie? Maybe in like the early 2000s.
2009 with Iron Man.
Spider-Man.
That was great.
Well,
That was
like the
great. Oh, yeah.
MCU, yeah,
Hulk
but
came
like
out first, yeah.
yeah, like Spider-Man's and stuff. But like as soon as the MCU with the Iron Man movies began there. But yeah, absolutely both of them. But I think Star Wars has just been around forever. They've been milking it for so long, and like
Yeah.
they've got diehard fanatics who will buy literally anything that they make, which has made.
Did you watch Mando? Did you watch Mando?
No, I don't care.
Uh,
Oh my! You can't say Star Wars is overrated without watching Mando, okay? Because I'm here. I'm gonna defend this. I put up my big shield. All right. I know that Star Wars has had a rough couple years. Since the mouse bought it, Star Wars has had a rough couple years. I'm the number one person to say y'all need to
Well-
be careful. The sequels are rough. I'm sorry.
How many of the main 9 films do you like, Jyggy?
6.
Okay,
No,
that's
5.
I'd say
No, I'm sorry, 5.
5 is more than
5.
average of
Yeah.
people who call themselves Star Wars
yeah.
fans, which is
I feel
very
like
funny
most
to me.
people are like 4, 5, and 6.
Yeah.
And then like 1, 2, and 3 didn't exist. And
You're
7,
not
8,
a
and 9 didn't
true
exist.
you're not a true Star Wars fan unless you hate more than half the movies.
I actually think that the prequels are extremely underrated, except for Phantom Menace. I need to be drunk to watch Phantom Menace. 100%.
Do you like the
Oh,
Jar
they-
Jar
like-
is evil theory?
I love Jar Jar.
I love that.
Yeah, I mostly liked Attack of the Clones, even though it's abhorrently boring. but
Oh, have you
It's not that bad.
have you
It's-
seen
It's-
have you seen? I don't know if it's a full documentary, but the video where Star Wars was saved in the edit.
Yeah,
thing?
it's amazing.
Well, because
Yeah.
like George
It-
Lucas, like
Lucas-
shouldn't have been given any sort of decision-making power because once they sort of took that away from him, they made a good movie. And then whenever it became a very powerful franchise because of the good movies that they made out of the things that he shot without his input, then they gave him a lot of power for the prequels, and he made a bunch of poopy garbage. And
See, but
Yeah.
here's the thing, Doug. You say poopy garbage for the prequels, but I think that the prequels are extremely underrated. The prequel, I'm not gonna spend time. I know everyone's getting pissed off. Technofin's looking at me with the biggest clock right now. He's just like, you need to stop. But the prequels, from a writing perspective, if you look at them on paper, it's an amazing story. It's an amazing story of the rise and fall of
Yep.
Anakin Skywalker,
So-
the rise and fall of the Empire, and
Yeah.
or not the rise of the Empire, and the fall of the Jedi Order.
So
That being
the events that took place during that were good world building,
Yes.
but the movies were absolute garbage.
No, I don't think that I'll give you that Phantom Menace is rough. Phantom Menace is rough.
I feel that the prequel trilogy would have been a much better story as a single novel.
Oh, okay.
yeah,
I'm
I agree
under
with that.
the sense that the prequels should have started with 2. I don't know, Luke, what you think about this one, but I think the prequels should have started with 2.
have you heard of Machete Order?
No comment, man.
You don't like the prequels?
Not really.
Have you heard of
Do you
Machete
like
Order?
the-
The viewing order that goes 4, 5, 2, 3, 6 and eliminates one entirely.
Oh, well, I don't eliminate one. You need one to understand, unfortunately, crap. But like, you want to know my order? I'll give you my order. This is it. Then my order: 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3. Oh, actually, I'm sorry.
Okay, just
1,
release
2,
order. Okay.
Yeah, release.
Want to hear
order.
my order? I call it the Jyggy registered trademark order.
Release chronological order. You think you do 4, 5, 6. 1, 2. You have to watch the Clone Wars. Then you watch 3. Then you watch
7
Rebels,
and then
you
8.
watch... No. You forgot Rogue One. Then you
Oh.
watch Han Solo adventure movie. Then you watch. You don't get any of them. You just watch them. Deal with it. Okay?
Just watch
Deal
them
with it.
all. Okay.
Yeah, watch them all. Just experience it. All right. The
You're a hoot,
Phantom
Jyggy.
Menace. Just get drunk. Okay.
There-
Just get drunk and watch the Phantom Menace.
There were a lot of cool characters in the prequels, but that was like the best part. Like the things I remember the most are Darth Maul and General Grievous.
Yeah.
Like
The fight scenes. And the fight
They're
scenes are
sick.
cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Like,
basically it.
it's just an action movie that's fun to watch at that point.
Yeah,
But yeah, like
true.
all the like I will not condone a course of action that will lead my people to war and like all the trade embargo stuff. Like who cares? Like
yeah.
Oh, yeah, the politics hindered the movies. I know.
yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
And it could have been made better, but a lot of the politics were just jargon that made no sense to the viewer unless they got deep into the series.
Yeah.
The issue with the prequels, and I always say this, is that the way that if you watch the prequels, you need to watch the Star Wars 7-season Clone Wars Cartoon Network show.
That's like
Reason
saying
being-
like this RPG gets good after 30 hours. Like you just got to put in the
know.
time.
I know, but it's just one of those things where it really saves the characters and the actual experiences. I just wanted to pause here. Sorry, Raiders, I am dropping a metric ton of frames, but welcome to Marks of the Boys. Thank you, Jamie, for the raid. I appreciate you very much. Anyway,
What was
Yes.
the
What are
original
other-
question?
Star
are
Wars is
other-
overrated. It wasn't a question. It was just a fact.
What are-
It
Oh.
was what is the most overrated of all the major franchise, and then
See,
Okay.
we immediately latched on to Star
So,
Wars.
Harry Potter,
just to
Marvel.
piss Jiggy up.
the Harry Potter here. I don't think that the Harry Potter movies franchise is overrated. I think that the Wizarding World is now overrated.
Yeah, they've kind of pushed it a little too far.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
I
Well,
yeah.
there's
loved Fantastic Beasts 1, but the
Yep.
second one's a mess.
yeah.
Yep.
whole show on Fantastic
Spin-offs
Beasts,
and
too,
stuff.
You know?
And then Marvel is the other example.
Getting absolutely milked, I think, is what
It's
Marvel's
getting milked, but at least they're still putting out quality products. I think.
I'm
tired,
so
dude.
done with Marvel. On the scale of like for
And-
me, it's
yeah.
Marvel
It
is
could have ended at
worse.
Endgame, and I would have been happy.
Yeah, if only
Like
they had called
Marvel
it
is
something like
worse than Star
Endgame.
Wars.
Yeah.
And it's all a bunch of military propaganda, but that might be too much to get into
Also
right now.
true. Yeah.
I'm just like, when it comes to Marvel, and this is again, people get pissed off at me because I said that literally the only movie that I'm excited about right now is Spider-Man, and that's because spoiler alert, everybody, there's a leak that both Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield are in the film.
That's
Which
gonna be
means-
wild.
Ooh,
And-
that's gonna be yeah.
And the current
Oh,
guy?
fun. Yes, so Tobey Maguire, Tom Holland,
Tom Holland,
and Andrew
yeah.
Garfield. All
Wow.
3 Spider-Man for the last decade.
It's gonna be like Spider-Verse.
2 decades.
Yeah, 2 decades are in this apparently in
Oh,
this
that's
film.
cool.
So it's apparently an absolute mess, and it's going to be amazing. And then Sam Raimi is the guy who directed both Spider-Man and Spider-Man 2 with with Tobey Maguire, as well as a bunch of other messes of films that are so much fun, is directing the new Doctor Strange movie, Multiverse of Madness, and the title is called Multiverse of Madness. So you already know it's going to be a wacky adventure.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of just in that mood where I don't really know where Marvel is going, but I'll go see their fun movies. But
Yeah.
I'm not
I
interested.
agree.
I'm not interested in Eternals.
There's
boring.
not a compelling overarching story anymore. But
I'm sure there will
yeah.
be, but
Yeah.
yet.
All right.
I'm
We
sure
should
they'll-
probably move on.
let's move on to the next one.
Anyway, next question, Luke.
Go ahead. Luke.
Oh, okay. TP.
Do you have the doc open, Luke?
I have no idea what you people are
Okay.
talking about.
Okay, I'll just read it. What was the movie game you were most hyped, excited for, and then disappointed by?
Probably Harry Potter for the PS1.
Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire for the original Xbox.
Yeah. I
Ooh.
stopped buying movie video games after that, probably.
Yeah.
I think for me it was Star Wars: Attack of the Clones on GameCube. I really actually that game has a really cool multiplayer function, but the story is rough.
Lord of the Rings: Return of the King.
Oh, I had a bunch of friends that were really into those like Lord of the Ring movie games for like the PS2 and the GameCube.
Yeah, yuck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Were the first two
Iron
okay?
Man.
I'm thinking.
So there wasn't a first one. They skipped Fellowship and went straight to Two Towers.
Okay.
Really?
Yep.
Was Two Towers all right, or was it bad as well? Do you know?
It was bad as well.
Dang. Yeah. They were. Well, it was like you were the Fellowship and just running around and like killing orcs, right?
Yeah, it followed the story.
Yeah. Okay.
That's about all I remember of it.
Gotcha.
It's
I don't think this is a movie.
I think they put the important beats of the original movie in Two Towers, but it still wasn't.
Gotcha.
I think
Maybe it was a
another one
movie
that I was
game.
extremely disappointed about, which is really sad, was Star Wars Lego Star Wars. I know this is weird. We were just praising Lego games, but Lego Star Wars The Force Awakens, in my opinion, was one of the biggest disappointments I've ever experienced in my life because they put DLC behind a massive paywall, and it was to the point where it was like this garbage like fodder grind fest that was nowhere near the original Lego games. And if I remember like the original, like the complete saga or even 1 or 2, I remember playing that game on stream and saying, wow, this game sucks.
Yeah.
Was it made by a different developer or publisher or something?
No, it was made by the same developer too, and but they added voice acting and they added like all this stuff, and it's funny because there's a current while Luke is waiting, while Luke is
Well, he's
thinking,
frantically researching.
Yeah, I had to look something up. I've got it now.
there's a new I'll finish this up. There's a new Lego Star Wars game coming out called Lego Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga that's been delayed 4 times. I don't know if you guys know this. It's made by the same company that made the originals. It's been delayed 4 times. They still don't have a release date for it, as far as I'm aware. and their reason is they want it to be the greatest Lego game ever made.
Okay.
That's actual quote. So the way I look at it is keep delaying it until you have a product you like, but please give me a product. Deliver on that. Deliver on that you want it to be the greatest Lego Star Wars game ever made.
Yeah, have fun.
All
Have
right,
fun
Luke,
doing that, man.
What's your disappointment?
I
Do we all play?
Yeah, it's
Star Wars?
behind me.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Great game.
All right.
I had to look it up. Because I just like completely forgot this existed until now. But the movie Wanted, you know,
Oh, curving
yeah.
bullets.
where you have to curve the bullets.
That game was kind of cool because you could curve bullets.
Yeah,
That's all I remember.
it was. Yeah, the game, like the curving the bullet thing, was cool, but the rest of the game was horrible.
Yep.
It was so bad.
Oh, I
But
played the
I saw the movie and I
Yeah.
was like, yes, this is a good idea. You can like curve bullets and stuff, and it didn't work.
I mean, I dare not
The
repeat it
movie
here,
was a gimmick.
but
so
the name for the easy mode in that game was kind of funny.
What was the name? For
I refuse to repeat it.
Oh, is it bad?
Oh yeah, let me find it. I think
What's
it's
it called?
okay. I'm not gonna be able to find it. It was called like it was mean. It was mean.
It was mean.
Like True Child. Or
Something like that.
It was
Yeah.
like-
Oh, it's probably worse.
Yeah. To my knowledge, I'll tell you after the show. I'll tell you when you're older.
Oh my god.
Oh, you found it.
yeah.
I looked it up.
It's gonna be
Yeah,
the
look
first
that
Margs
up.
with the Boys that's not rated explicit because of the fact that we don't have Scootish on it. I think Techno's gonna be excited. This is the first Margs of the Boys that's not gonna be rated.
I think someone said a swear earlier.
Yeah, look in
Oh, dude.
chat.
Oh.
Oh,
You got it.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Cool.
All
Shout outs
right.
to that.
Let's move on to the next question, Jiggy.
Jyggy. That's me. That's my name.
Can you
What
read?
is your guilty pleasure movie game?
Movie game.
I mean, I don't really play movie games because I don't play video games.
But what one that was like inherently bad did you really like when you played it?
I really like. Oh, that's hard.
I mean, we know TBs.
Ratatouille the game. Ratatouille the game, dude. Ratatouille.
Mine's- Mine, I would either say The Incredibles
Oh, okay. I was thinking.
or 007 Nightfire.
Mm.
While not like
Mm.
inherently based on a movie, but it's still bad.
I thought you would say
It was
Curious
fun.
George.
Yes, dude.
Oh, Curious George as well. Yeah.
Curious George, dude. Mine is
No, that's a
mine is
bad name.
definitely yeah, definitely. But mine is definitely James Bond Quantum of Solace. It's such a bad movie game, but it's such a fun third-person shooter.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that. Was that PS3? That was.
I
Quantum
don't
Solace,
remember. I don't remember. I think I had it for the Xbox 360.
I was gonna talk about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles right now.
So the arcade games were great for TMNT. Like those were super good.
Oh, yeah.
Like unironically good. Like very
Yep.
good licensed property. Like those rocked. I forgot to bring those up earlier, but they did cross my mind. Probably the Harry Potter RPGs on the Game Boy Color. Like those are, I think, honestly good. But you know, I have a broken radar for things that are good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We should like kind of off topic, but we have in our future topics game reviews and why 6 out of 10 equals 0 out of 10 about
Oh,
like
yeah.
the gaming review culture.
Yeah,
Yep.
So we should visit that
that's a great
topic
idea.
sometime.
We could just browse
I
like Metacritic and just sort of
That'd be fun.
Yeah.
make a lot of good points. I think.
Yeah,
Anyway,
honestly.
anyway, last question of the night.
Last chance to get in here before we ask it. Last chance if you have any questions for us to get it in here. Last chance. We're gonna answer that. TB.
Have you ever purposely bought somebody a movie game that you knew was bad?
I mean, probably for
Never-
like a kid.
Yeah,
I've
not
never
a not
bought
a
movie game for them, but I bought a bad game for people because it's fun.
Yeah. Yeah, I've bought
Like,
bad games for people, but
I've
not
bought bad
really a
movies for
movie game.
people.
You
True.
bought bad. Yeah, okay.
I've never bought a bad movie game for somebody, but I definitely bought the Super Mario Brothers movie for somebody.
Oh,
Great
that's
movie.
a good movie. What are you talking about?
Dennis
I don't know
Hopper
about
is
that.
Bowser. Let's go.
Excuse me,
It's
Luke.
Bob
it's
Hoskins?
it's bad funny. It's bad funny.
Yeah, I remember back in the day. This would be my answer, even though it's not near a movie game. But we used to pass around a Steam game called Time Gentlemen Please and ban their damn that special edition
my
double pack.
God.
Double pack, dude. Oh my gosh. Yeah, no, I bought Glover.
Glover, let's go.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Glover. I
bought
love
Glover.
Glover.
I glove that game.
I bought Glover at one point was like to the point where it was like 5 cents on eBay. I think it was more than that. It was like
Yeah,
25
probably.
cents on eBay. So I bought like a bunch of copies, and I would just give Glover away.
That's awesome.
Even people that didn't have N64s, I would give them Glover, and it was always a grand adventure. And Glover's actually not that bad of a game, but it's funny. So
It is funny.
But no,
I sold my Game Boy Advance Rocket Power game to somebody. Does that count? God, what a bad game.
Yeah.
Got him.
Yeah. My last thing here, I do want to announce this for everybody that's watching or everyone listening on the thing. Next weekend, the 14th through the 15th, on twitch.tv/Jyggy11. I'm not self-promoting, but kind of am. We are doing a charity event called Big Broadcast for Good. We're raising money for St. Jude. You want to be here? Just come on over. I have to plug it in the podcast.
Oh,
Jyggy is hijacking my branding.
You know how many people have come to me that's like, TB's doing a charity event? I'm like, dude, it's just he doesn't own For Good.
You could have named it Big Broadcast for Charity. But
Yeah, TB.
Yeah,
Big BB4C. Big
yeah.
B.
Okay. Anything to plug, Luke? Anything you got going on?
Didn't
Thank
you-
you for being our guest.
I don't know. What am I allowed to plug? Anything?
What? You're a guest here, dude.
You are our guest.
Yeah, dude. Hey, everybody listening right now. I'm going to be streaming on twitch.tv/Zeldathon today at 6:30 p.m. Eastern, and I'm going to be making a lot of Photoshop art, cursed Photoshop art, if you will.
Oh, excellent. I love it.
I asked the community for suggestions, and I shouldn't have asked the community for
Oh
suggestions.
no.
Anyway, I think that's it for the night. Doug, do you want to outro us?
Thanks for watching or listening. If you're an audio listener, we treasure all 4 of you. And catch us in 2 weeks when we talk about something else. And be sure to give us a 5-star review on whatever your podcast listening app of choice is. And thanks. You're great.